Hello everyone and welcome to another video. The year is 2013. Doctor Who is celebrating its 50th anniversary. Throughout the year there have been exciting treats for its fans, from various special merchandise, to the second half of Series 7 and the two following specials, and even the return of 9 missing episodes. But just as the year marks an important milestone in the show's overall history, there are also a few changes on the way. Matt Smith signals his intention to leave the show, with Jenna Coleman having only just properly joined him as his companion, Clara Oswald. In our timeline, Matt Smith's 11th Doctor bowed out in pretty spectacular fashion, and this is coming from someone who's not the biggest fan of his final story, The Time of the Doctor. But what if that all changed? What if in an alternate timeline, the fall of the 11th didn't happen at that particular point? What if Matt Smith had stayed for Series 8? Now, unfortunately, we don't have as much of a concrete idea of what would have happened, especially when compared to the last two What If videos. But given that Steven Moffat had pretty much always intended for the 11th Doctor's last stand to be on Trenzalore, I think the Time for Doctor would still have happened, just a year later than in our timeline. But before we can get to all of that, we have to rewind back to Series 7B. Whilst the main story arc for Series 7B was the Impossible Girl one, there were still elements of the Trenzalore arc as well, mainly with the name of the Doctor, of course. I think this could all still more or less play out the exact same in this alternate timeline, maybe a few little tweaks here and there so that we don't find out too much about Trenzalore just yet. The Day of the Doctor would still have happened as well. 2013 was still the 50th anniversary after all, and I don't think Weeds needs to make even the tiniest of changes to its overall story, as it's mostly already pretty separate from the whole Trenzalore stuff. And as I've already stated, we wouldn't have the Time of the Doctor as the 2013 Christmas special, so it would have to be replaced with something else. I'm honestly not too sure what this Christmas special could be about. Maybe something with the Weeping Angels, maybe it would be called something like Hark the Weeping Angels Sing. That's probably a pretty rubbish title, but it's the best I could come up with. So now we move on to the alternate Series 8, which could go in one of two different ways. One, the whole series could be set on Trenzalore itself, or two, the series could instead lead up to the events of Trenzalore, with various plot details left over from Series 5 and 6 being given more time to be explained better. Personally, I think the latter is more realistic and likely. So let's say we go with this second option. As I say, this would allow Steven Moffat more time to properly explain just what was going on with the cracks in the universe, the whole Silence Will Fall thing, the TARDIS exploding, etc. This may end up making this alternate Series 8 seem almost like a crash course for the previous 3 series, but I think this may not be that bad of an idea. In our timeline, Moffat didn't really get the chance to properly explain just what had been going on in the past few series, so all we really got was a few throwaway lines that only lasted about a minute or so in the Time of the Doctor. Maybe this was because he thought Matt Smith would be staying longer than he ended up doing. We don't really know for sure right now. But anyway, this alternate Series 8 would therefore probably give Moffat the chance he needed to explain it all. And it could still set up at least the Missy arc with us getting more mentions of her, but I think the whole Promised Land arc would be saved for an alternate Series 9, which would basically resemble our timeline's Series 8 in quite a few ways. Also, just a quick thing about our alternate Series 8. I don't think many of the stories from our timeline's Series 8 would be in it. I say this because I don't think most of them would work that well with the 11th Doctor instead of the 12th. But anyway, we then move on to the alternate Time of the Doctor. Stephen Moffat may have decided to rename it to something like The Siege of Trenzalore or A Town Called Christmas, given that the previous two stories which had Of the Doctor in their title would have been a whole year in the past by then. Or he may have just kept the title as it is. Probably the latter, actually, now that I think of it. Anyway, the Time of the Doctor would still be broadly similar to what we got in our timeline. It just wouldn't have had to wrap up Matt Smith's era as the Doctor with a few lines of dialogue, as Stephen Moffat would already have done that with the preceding alternate Series 8. We'll say that Matt Smith still regenerates into Peter Capaldi at the end. But what about Clara? Honestly, I'm not too sure. We know that Jenna Coleman was originally going to leave after 2 series in our timeline, so maybe she does leave with Matt Smith. Or maybe she does stay on after all and stars alongside Capaldi in the alternate Series 9, before then leaving in an alternate version of Last Christmas, perhaps. I'll probably go with this second one actually, as she did stay on for 3 series in our timeline after all, so it's not impossible she could have done the same in this alternate timeline too. But anyway, so there's my take on what if Matt Smith had stayed for Series 8. But what do you think? Did you like my take on it or not? And would you do anything differently? Please let me know in the comment section below. Anyway, so thanks for watching, hope you liked it. Please don't forget to press that subscribe button below, as well as press the bell icon at the side of it, so that you'll stay notified of when all my new videos come out. This channel currently has 864 subscribers as of the time of writing and recording this video. But if we can get to 1000 by the end of this year, then I will do my very own fan-made audio story. Also please rate, and I shall see you all in another video. So, until next time, bye bye!